Today is July 4th. Happy birthday, America. Congratulations to your 250th birthday. We are heading out to the first of our two Rocky Mountain National Park backcountry camping sessions. The first one will be around the North Inlet area, so the southwestern corner of the park. We have 3 days planned. The first one is going to be up to Lake Anita. The second one will be up to Flat Top Mountain and the surrounding peaks, exploring that part. And the last day we'll try to get up to Ptarmigan Lake, Bench Lake and the Wonderland area. That's going to be a bit of a bushwhacking adventure. And then we're heading back down to Grand Lake for one night before we head out to the northwestern corner of the park, where we'll spend some time around the Never Summer range and go hiking there. Marlene is top-notch prepared. We are very much in partner look today, even though she's blue and I'm red. You ready, Marlene?
Yes.
All right, off we roll. So the trail that we're taking into North Inlet and then up to Flat Top Mountain is actually the other CDT loop. So when I did my trip towards Steamboat, I did the shortcut, and now today's trip or tomorrow's trip up to Flat Top Mountain will be the extended loop that the CDT actually does around the park. And so, Marlene, you're hiking on the Continental Divide. So this section here really is dedicated to hike like a girl. A fellow thru hiker who just had a bad accident with her husband. So Michelle and Steve, I really do hope that you get well soon, and any kind of entertainment I can provide, I'm happy to do so. So part one of today is successful. We found our campsite, ditched our overnight gear, and now we're slack packing up to Lake Nokoni, I think it's what it's called. So we almost starved on our first day. When we closed the bear canister all the way, I didn't quite know how to actually open it again. I figured it can't be that complicated, but we didn't manage. And so we had to ask 2 fellow hikers who came down the trail. They knew how it worked. And so now we have access to our food again. We don't have to starve. Last switchback before we've made it up to Lake Nokoni. And it seems like the monsoon is slowly starting. Over noon we had a little bit of a very mellow thunderstorm rolling through, but now it's 3:30. It's already cleared up again, so I think that's probably going to be it for the day. We finally made it to Lake Nokoni, first of 2. This is where we'll go tomorrow. That valley here to the left, going this up and then up on top to Flat Top Mountain. But today it's the other side of the valley. Down there in the valley is Lake Nanita, the second one of these glacial lakes. They're really quite pretty. Here's Ptarmigan Mountain, right between the 2 lakes. So on the one side, down in that valley, is the one lake, and on the other one down there is Lake Nanita. It's a pretty steep southeastern drop-off right there. I think if you want to get up to that mountain, you better go from the other side. It's a lot more mellow. On our way down from the lakes, it's about 5:30. So overall, a very successful first side adventure day. Now when we get down there, we're gonna have dinner, then bear-proof everything in our bear can, because we're good national park visitors. And then we're gonna figure out if we actually have some neighbors. When we put up our tent earlier, there was nobody, but it's 4th of July, so I would assume there's probably a lot of people in the park and it's probably booked out. So let's see if we are still alone.
Our trail name is Hummingbird. I am 29 years old, and For the past 15 years, I've lived in either Maine or New Hampshire. My trail name, because I love birds generally, and especially hummingbirds. And one day, a couple of hummingbirds almost landed on my backpack because it's really brightly colored, and they love it. And also, it's like it's kind of multifaceted. Also, I move very quickly. Like my feet move really fast when I'm hiking, similar to the way that like hummingbirds beat their wings really fast. They go about the same distance as every other bird. I just work harder. And I also do enjoy copious amounts of sugar. The main reason I decided to hike the CDT is because I hiked the AT 3 years ago. I decided that I wanted to Triple Crown. And it was either the CDT or the PCT. And my friends that have Triple Crowned all told me that I should save the PCT for last. So here I am. Best day that I've had most recently. We only did like 19 miles. So it was like an easy day, and there wasn't a ton of climbing or descending. It was really mellow. I hike in a small group, and usually we all leave camp separately, but because we weren't doing a big day, we all kind of like hung around camp in the morning and left together and hiked a few miles, and it was super chill, and it was really nice to like chit chat for a while, which we don't usually do except for at camp at night. And the weather was really beautiful. The terrain was really beautiful. We went into like the Holy Cross Wilderness, which I thought was really, really gorgeous. And we decided to go off trail for lunch to Bear Lake. And it's only like a quarter mile off trail, and it was so beautiful. And I went swimming, and we like lazed around by the lake. There was like a quarter of the lakeside was just like giant boulders that were so great for like laying out on. And it was just really nice. I feel like a lot of Colorado has been cramming in all these views, but also like trying to get miles done and feeling somewhat rushed the whole time, and like you can't really stop and enjoy and appreciate every like lake and stream that you want to. And that day we did. I did. I wrote that day that like that was what I thought all of Colorado would feel like. Was like walking and enjoying the views, and then getting in a lake, and then like hanging out, and instead of like, you know, suffering through the snow in the San Juans and like trying to pull big miles in like high elevation where you're really struggling to like move quickly because your body doesn't want to. Oh, I've had some horrible days. I have had so many more moments on this trail of like, what the fuck am I doing out here? I've had more of those moments, and we're not even halfway down the trail, than I like did on the entire Appalachian Trail. It was just like a lot of hills, and they felt really pointless. And I was like really, really dragging that day. It was really, really, really windy. And I was just getting like blasted on the ridge. And, you know, town's right behind you, so you're just kind of like, I could just turn around to go back to town. And like, what am I doing out here? I feel like shit. The weather is shit. I can't even appreciate these beautiful views around me because I can't look up, otherwise I'm going to get blown away. And I had to stop, and I was huddled like in a tiny little tunnel that wasn't directly in the wind, like right behind a cairn, like a big stacked rock cairn. And I was like, I need a break from the wind, and there was nothing else around me. And I went behind a cairn, and I sat there just wondering what I was doing with my life. And it was really, really awful. It felt really bad. And even that being like one of the worst days I can remember recently, I still ended the day camping next to a lake, and I saw 3 moose, and it was beautiful, and the sunset was incredible. And so it ended up being like not even that bad of a day. I've learned that I require human connection more than I thought I did. The CDT is like quite solitary unless you're very intentional about like spending time with people. I'm pretty in like daily life very independent. I like to go do things by myself. I like my alone time at home, but I also still do really need that human connection a little bit more than I thought. So I think the CDT's like thrown that into relief for me. I've learned where and how to pitch a tent in the desert. That's been new for me. Very first night, night 1 on the CDT, we camped right by the first water cache. And I picked a bad spot. I picked a really sandy spot that, like, in my head, I was like, wow, it's nice and soft and sandy. Look at that. And then it was extremely windy. And I got sandblasted in my tent still all night. And I woke up with like a coating of dust all over me and everything that I owned. And I was like, well, won't be doing that again. That was the first time that I thought, what am I doing out here? It was like the very first day. If you've hiked the AT, you don't know what you're doing. No. The AT is a great introductory through hike. There's a lot of resources on the AT, like generally, and like hiker specific ones that you just don't get on the CDT. I feel like on the AT we're like, oh, we're hiker trash. You're not hiker trash until you're on the CDT. You're not hiker trash until you're sitting in the middle of the public town park with everything that you own laid out in the grass because you got soaked in the morning and made your way to town and have nowhere to be except in public, but you still need to dry out all your gear. I think both the trail itself is a little bit more demanding. I definitely came in a little cocky because like people talk about how the AT is, has the most cumulative elevation gain of all 3 trails, and it's the shortest. So like overall, you have a much higher concentration of like up and down, but you're not dealing with elevation. Your ups are not 7 miles long. And the weather, I think outside of some spots in New England, the weather here generally is a lot more severe, or at least it has been for us this year. I don't know, it's been windy every single day, and I thought I was somebody who like could deal with high winds, like recreating in the Whites a lot. It's very windy up there, and the day in day out of that can get rough.